The other day, I asked my friends what would they pay me to do for them. By the way, great question. If you don't know what to do with your life, just ask your friends or people who know you well, what would they pay you to do for them? And my friends told me that they would pay me to plan their week for them, because I am one of the most productive people I know, and not because I'm always super motivated or I particularly enjoy what I do, not all of the time. I just have a system that works really well for me. So in this video, I'm going to share some tips and tricks. So here are 5 maximum productivity tips from a girl that has 50 hours in a day. Not really. I just know how to use my time right. Okay, first and the most important, you need to start planning your days ahead. Before the start of the next month, choose 3 goals that you want to focus on that month. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3, but not more than 3, otherwise it will just feel overwhelming and you will end up not pursuing any of those goals. So 3 is like the perfect amount. And then you would divide those 3 main goals into smaller goals, and then you will choose one consistent action that you can take every single day to get closer to that goal. And then when you plan your week, usually I do this on Sundays, I would sit and I would plan my week. I would make time each single day for this consistent action. Also, you need to identify your peak hours. Everyone has that time when they feel the most productive. For me, it's in the morning or first half of the day. So that's when I would do the hardest tasks, so that by the end of the day, when I have no energy left, I wouldn't have to worry about those hard tasks. So for you, it might be closer to evening. I know some people are productive at night. You need to identify those peak hours, and then the hardest tasks. So when you plan your week and the tasks that need your immediate attention, put them within those peak hours when you feel the most productive. I started planning my days back in university and it literally changed my life. I'm a big planner girl. I plan everything ahead of time. It first of all declutters your brain, because when you have all these thoughts in your head and things that you need to do and you try to remember all these things, so you try to keep all of that in your head, you create this mental clutter which makes you feel exhausted and doesn't let other thoughts flow in. And when you actually get to doing the task, you cannot focus as much because you have all these thoughts in your head. So planning your day and writing down all the things that you need to do declutters your brain. I personally use this app called Structured. Not sponsored, unfortunately. I really like this app. I've been using it for over a year. It's simple to use and you can choose a pink layout, which is perfect. But you can use your notes app or your calendar that's already installed in your phone, or you can use a journal, whatever works for you. And another tip, don't just have this to-do list of endless things, but actually create time blocks for each task. So for example, if I have to work out in the morning, I would assign a time block of 1 hour in the morning to work out. If I have to sit down and write some posts for my social media, I would assign a time block of, let's say, 2 hours for that. And creating a time block, what it does, it makes the task feel more manageable and not so overwhelming, because you have a time block. You know when you start and you know when you finish, and you don't have to finish the task, but you still feel good because you've made some progress. So you don't have to complete the task. You don't have to feel pressured by the time, you know, I only have 1 hour, I'm not gonna be able to finish it. You don't have to complete the task within that time block, but you still feel good. Also, it's a perfect tip for my fellow perfectionists, because when the time is done, I know I have to move on to the next thing, and I don't worry so much about the thing being perfect. I worry more about the progress that I have made within that time block. You should have a place for every activity. So just the same way every item in your house has its place, it should be the same with the activities that you do. So your bed should be only for sleeping and resting and not watching TV shows or movies or scrolling on your phone. Yes, I'm looking at you. Are you watching this video from your bed? You better stop. I started practicing this recently, and now whenever I get to bed, my brain instantly like, okay, we need to sleep. And I now fall asleep much faster than I did before. And you should have a place where you eat and place where you work. And what it does, when you get to that place, let's say you have your desk where you work and you sit down and your brain immediately registers, okay, here is where we focus, here is where we work. Also keep your space minimal because chaos and mess, they create cognitive clutter. Every single item in your physical or digital space takes up a little bit of your mental bandwidth. So even when you're not consciously thinking about it, your brain still processes that information in the background. So when there is a mess all around you, and you don't even realize it, but your subconscious is thinking, oh my God, there is a mess. This needs to be taken care of. We need to do something about it. And what it does, it creates mental fatigue, slower thinking, less focus, more distraction. When the space around you, both your physical space and digital space, is visually calm, your brain has less stimuli that it needs to pay attention to, and therefore it is much easier for your brain to focus on the task at hand. You need to start utilizing your time effectively. I used to think I didn't have enough time. I always had hundreds of podcasts saved and hundreds of books I wanted to read, and I kept telling myself that I don't have enough time for it. But the problem was not that I didn't have enough time, I just wasn't conscious of the time I had. So now instead of listening to music, and I used to listen to music all the time, I stopped listening to music as much as I did before, and now instead of listening to music, I listen to podcasts. So I go for a walk, I listen to a podcast, I cook, I listen to a podcast. Or when I'm on the road, when I'm on my way to work, I take a book with me, and again, instead of listening to music, I read a book. I started to read much more now because I now utilize the time that I have more effectively. When I get 10, 15 free minutes and I don't have anything to do, I would do a task that I postponed for later, so that when time comes for that task, I now have less work to do. So I would write a post or edit a video. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, it doesn't mean I have to complete the task in those 10-15 minutes, but I made some progress, and progress compounds over time. And when the time comes for me to do the task, as I have said, I now have less work that I need to do. Time is the most important resource that we have, and we need to start using it effectively. By doing this, you save yourself so much time, and you stop feeling behind, and you stop feeling like you don't have enough time, because you have enough time, you're just not using it right. Okay, next I want to talk about how to actually focus on the task that you need to complete. So before you commit to a task, you need to set an intention. This is a huge neuroscience hack, it's not magic. You basically command to your brain. When you sit down and before doing a task, you say to your brain, I will focus on this task, whatever it is, for the next 1 hour or 2 hours or whatever time block you set for that task. I would focus on this task, I will stay focused, and I will stay productive for the next hour or two. You command to your brain, and now your brain will start acting in a way that you told it to, because you set that programming. That's it. Sounds so easy, and it is easy, but it's super effective. In university, I also discovered Pomodoro technique, which helped me a lot to focus on my studies. I still use it sometimes. You can download an app, there are plenty of apps, or you can set your own timer, but it's basically about setting a timer for 25 minutes and focusing on the task for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break and then repeating that 4 times, and after 4 pomodoros, so after 2 hours, you take a longer break of like 10-15 minutes. So it's great for those of you who study in school or university. It's great for deep study sessions. Another tip, if you're someone who tends to procrastinate and unconsciously grab their phone and start doom scrolling, when you are focusing on the task, put your phone on don't disturb mode, silence your notifications, and put your phone in a different room. This way, you create this block because now you think, oh, I have to stand up and I have to go to this other room to have my phone. So they're like you create this challenge for your brain, so you are less likely to actually take your phone and doom scroll. Last point that I want to make, and I have mentioned it a few times throughout this video, progress over perfection. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to do it. Okay? You will have time to make it perfect later, but stop waiting for the perfect time, for the perfect opportunity. Stop waiting for your work to be perfect for the world to see it. If you constantly chase this unicorn of perfection, because what is perfect? Perfect doesn't exist. No one is perfect. Nothing is perfect. So you will just get disappointed and you will never succeed, because people that succeed, they are not perfect people and their work isn't perfect. They're probably less talented than you, but they succeeded because they stopped waiting for the perfect time and they just did it in the moment with what they had. So if you have even just 10 minutes to do something, instead of thinking, well, 10 minutes are not gonna make that much of a difference, those 10 minutes will get you closer to your goal. Remember that these small steps, they lead to big results. Progress compounds over time. If you always wait for the perfect opportunity to chase your goals, you will never achieve them and you will waste your life away. So stop focusing on doing it perfectly and just act. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know about your productivity tips and I will see you next week. Love you.